Eddie, what is your role now with the likes of Selby and James Degale?
Well, I'm the UK promoter, I'm the promoter. I'm involved with the decision making, but nowhere near as much as I previously was. Got a couple fights left with both of them. The most important thing for me is that they're on Sky Sports platform, which is the case. I don't really agree with a lot of the things that they're doing, but they're making good money. But, you know, again, going back to the Anthony Joshua thing, I'm not here for a quick buck. I'm here for a solid long-term business, and that also represents fighters' careers as well. It's not a 1, 2, 3 fight thing. You know, a lot of these guys should have another dozen fights. But you know, I think, listen, Al's doing a good job with a lot of these guys. We're all talking, trying to plan out what's best for them. I would like to see James Degale box in the UK. I think it's great that Selby's back boxing in the UK at the O2 on Saturday night. But you know, not as much responsibility as I had before, but happy to be involved. And obviously all relationships are different.
Eddie, I'm going to be open and blunt here. You're probably the leading promoter in the UK. Why would fighters like to go and get an advisor from another country?
Money. Just money.
Just for money?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I think, listen, Al's a very bright guy. I think he's doing some great stuff for boxing. But it doesn't matter. There's got to be a carrot, and the carrot is money. But you know, it depends. Like I've always said, if you're a pay-per-view fighter in the UK, you don't need to step foot in America. But a lot of the guys, like James Degale's not a pay-per-view fighter, Selby's not a so there's more money for those guys to fight Medina in the US than there is in the UK. It's general business. But if I can build you into like James Degale, after he beat Durrell, had an opportunity to become a pay-per-view fighter where he would have earned much more than he's earning at the moment. But you know, I really felt like he should have boxed in the UK after that win. Now we took him to the O2 on the May the 30th card, and his face came up on a screen, and the whole place went nuts. He's never been cheered in his life. He couldn't believe it. And we had momentum, but that's gone now. You know, so now he's got to base himself in the States full time.
So am I right in thinking that after his contract expires with you, he doesn't have to stay with you?
No, of course not. No, the same with any contract. Yeah, he's got a couple more fights. You know, is there value in? Probably the only value in staying with me is if I can make you a pay-per-view fighter.
And the value of you having him?
Just to keep him on the Sky platform. You know. And I'm making money. But I like James Degale, I like Selby. It's not all about the money. I like to be involved. I like to win. I like to go on a journey with him as well. But when you're not as involved, you sort of lose a little bit of hunger. And, you know, I done an interview with Coogan the other day. You might have seen it, right? You know, I basically said that you give me the 100% trust. You tell me that I'm the man to guide your career, and you know, I will drip blood for you, work 20 hours a day for you, get you exactly what you want, and I'll never let you down. Once that's diluted, there's this guy doing that, and you're just doing a few. You know, it's like you lose a little bit of passion. It's just natural. Doesn't mean I won't do a good job for them. Doesn't mean I don't like them. Doesn't mean they're not good fighters, because they're all of those. But you know, like Nigel Benn in the press conference the other day, when he turns to you and he says, "I'm in Australia. I'm handing my son over to you. Don't let me down. I trust you." Now, I mean, if that don't motivate you, I don't know what does. So I'm so motivated to do a great job for Conor Benn. And sometimes you have to put that trust in people. Sometimes you have to earn it. When I signed Carl Froch, he had a bad experience, and I think he looked at me like I was just some young upstart, and you know, yeah, he's got Sky, and then it took time. A couple of fights in, he would have trusted me with everything, and me the same with him. And they're the great relationships that you have. I wish I would have had him a dozen fights earlier. Would have made him hundreds of millions because of the way he fights, you know. And with AJ, we've got that relationship. He trusts me to do everything. I trust him implicitly in the ring. We speak often, but even when we don't speak, he knows I've got his back on everything. And that's because he's put the trust in me. You know, when he won the Olympic Games, I told him, go all around the world, meet every promoter, every advisor, every manager, and see what you think. That's a dangerous thing to do. He did it. He come full circle. He said, I want to sign with you. That means something. You know, the moment you break the team, or the moment you say, right, you were doing that, but now you're. It's only like being in a job, isn't it? Where all of a sudden you go, I know you were doing that, but now you've got this new guy come in, and he's going to be working alongside you or above you, and you're going to be doing a little bit less than you go. First thing you think is, I'm off. You know, so it's just the same in my position. Like I said, I'll continue to make sure his profile's good here, make sure he's on the best platform, which I believe is Sky Sports. UK fans get to see him on Sky. Sky are happy. I make a few quid, but I don't know. You know, the future with Lee and James. I hope I'm with them for the rest of their career. But, and I've said before, if you're not a pay-per-view fighter, or you don't have the potential to be a pay-per-view fighter, America is definitely something you have to look at if you're good enough.
Eddie, do fighters make do they consult you and say, Eddie, I'm looking to join up with Al Haymon or another advisor somewhere in the world? Do they consult, or is it a decision they make on their own part?
Everyone's different. I mean, generally it's not the fighter. If a fighter's got a manager, a good example of that is Lee Selby, right? He's managed by the Sanegas. And actually, Carl Frampton was a good example of that. He was managed always by Barry McGuigan. Well, even when I was promoting Carl Frampton, I didn't really have a relationship with him because Barry McGuigan wouldn't let you get close enough to have a relationship with him because he was the manager and everything goes through the manager. It's really the fighters that don't have a manager that you have a closer relationship with them. They'll have an advisor, sometimes it might be their trainer or their lawyer, but the communication process is fighter-promoter, not fighter-manager-promoter. Yeah. So, like, for instance, when Lee Selby joined Al Haymon, that was all done by the Sanegas. It wasn't Lee Selby going out into meetings and negotiating, it was done by the Sanegas. So, eventually they come on to me and said, we've had an approach, this is what's happening, and we'll talk about it. But I always find that the strong relationships come when the relationship is between the fighter and the promoter. Because I don't really want to work with someone where I can't even, so every time you go and speak to him, it's a bit like Chris Eubank. You go and try and have a conversation with Chris Eubank Jr. and the dad's in there. What are you talking about? It's like, this ain't very enjoyable, is it? Yeah. Aren't we in this together? Aren't we a team? What do you want us to talk to him about? That was the same with Carl Frampton and Barry McGuigan. So, and when you haven't got that relationship, it's a lot easier to break. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like Kel and me are close, tight. Doesn't mean we will never split, but I'd be shocked and surprised, pretty upset if we did. But it can happen in business, But we've got that relationship. I speak to him all the time. I deal with him. Someone else might have an advisor, a manager, and this and that, and you don't speak to him as much. My advice to any fighter is be as close to me as you can, because it means I'm going to work a lot harder for you, But obviously now we've got so many new fighters, so many fighters in total, that you're not going to speak to these guys like every day. Doesn't mean you're not thinking about them, doesn't mean you're not working for them. Now, when you have 4 fighters, you speak to them each 5 times a day. When you have 40 fighters, you might speak to them once a week each. But they're all, you're working on them, non-stop.